Hello everyone, this is Maureen and welcome to My Crochet Story. Today is Tuesday, October the 16th, and we are here as we always are when we gather together to learn more about how to be still and know that He is our God. Now this little red book is put out by Broad Street Publishers, and I've put a link for you down in the description box so that if you wish to go and purchase your own copy, you won't have to go looking for it. It'll be right there, so you just have to click on it. Our devotional for today is titled Asking for Wisdom, and the Bible verse that'll go along with our discussion comes from Proverbs 2, verses 2 and 3. Listen carefully to wisdom. Set your mind on understanding. Cry out for wisdom and beg for understanding. Grief has a funny way of messing with our minds. It can cause a fog to roll in and settle over us. Small decisions feel like monstrous ones, or maybe it's the opposite. Big decisions are made hastily because, quite frankly, we don't have the time or the energy to think anything through. So how do we get the wisdom we need for the task set before us? Simple. We ask God for it. King Solomon was put in charge of a nation. He knew it was an impossible task to complete without wisdom. He wasn't born the wisest man who ever lived. He acquired his wisdom by asking God to give it to him. If God can give Solomon wisdom to run a nation, He can certainly give us wisdom to make decisions about big and small things in our lives. God, I need wisdom every day. Thank you that you want me to ask you for it. Help me to hear it in whatever form it comes, directly from you, or through the sound advice of family, friends, or counselors. It's hard to ask for help, isn't it? It's hard to ask for advice, for counseling in the big decisions that we have to make. But we're not meant to go it alone. That's why we have family and friends, counselors, teachers. And when we as Christians surround ourselves with Christian family, whether it be your congregation, maybe a smaller group, like your Sunday school group, or the women's group, or the men's group at your church. Maybe it could just be your neighbor next door. My counselor, teacher, prayer warrior, confidant was my mom. And I've told many of you that. And there were times when it was hard for me to call her and say, Mom, I got a problem. Because sometimes, just like you, I felt, well, this is silly. I mean, it's not that big a deal, is it really? But if it's a big enough deal where I had to ask my mom for it, for advice, then yes, it was a big deal. Asking for wisdom. Yes, I had to go to her for a lot of it. Because I always knew that my mom would first say, well, let's ask God. Give me just a minute. And I'd hear the papers rustling. And the next thing I knew, she had settled down in the chair or at the table in the kitchen. And she would say, I think we need to turn to. And she'd tell me what book, what chapter, what verse. And, you know, even just like right now, sharing that memory with you, I would feel a peace, a calmness come over me. Because she was getting ready to share with me an answer or a plan of attack or a different way of looking at it so that I could continue on and solve the problem. So many times Many, many times God uses our family and our friends, those that are of like-mind faith as we are, to help us get through that. But like I said, it's hard to reach out and ask for help. It really is. I believe that that's one of the biggest fallacies of human nature. We all want to feel strong enough to do it ourselves, to not need to show our vulnerability, to show that we're weak in certain areas. And so we do. We take on the burden and we try to carry it all by ourselves. But God doesn't want us to do that. Number one, His children are instructed. Now, it's not a demand. He just says, I am here. I am waiting for you to let me help you. All you have to do is ask. And His answer is always going to come to us. Whether it is directly in that voice that He gets in our head and says, this is what we're going to do, or if it comes by us reaching out to another fellow Christian and saying, I need some help. Will you pray with me about this? And just like with my mom, I always knew that she would have the answer, even if it was just to, we need to pray about this and wait on the Lord. So never, ever feel like you can't take a problem to God. No matter how big or small it is, He wants to help us so badly because He wants us to be happy. He wants us to know that there's nothing in our lives that we can't share with Him. And that by asking, we are extending to Him our hand, and He so wants to gift us with what we need. So asking for wisdom, asking for help, that's what God wants us to do. Cry out to Him and then listen. Ask for wisdom and He will always give it to you. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for being here today. I greatly appreciate your time, and I do hope that you take these words every day. Think about them and then apply them. If this was your first time here, I hope you've made it this far so that I can say thank you to you as well for joining us. And please, if you enjoyed today's devotional, hit that little subscribe button down there in the corner. Look for the bell that has those little hugs on the side, because it'll tell you every time I upload content, especially if you're here for the devotionals. So until tomorrow, folks, please always remember, be the light out there in the darkness for someone today, because you never know. It could be your light that they're waiting to see. I love you all. See you tomorrow. Bye.